Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, my interview with New York Times best-selling author Brad Meltzer discussing his new book, The Viper, plus how you can see him right here in St. Louis this coming Wednesday. After that, Joey V and I talk movies and we review the Golden Globes currently in progress. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you out there. And if you are streaming us on YouTube and Facebook, hello. Thank you very much for finding us there. If you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form on whatever platform you get your podcast, we do appreciate you leaving us a nice review there. If you haven't already done so, take the time to do that. Just takes a couple minutes. Leave a 5-star review on Spotify, iTunes, whatever it is you're listening to us on, and that'll help us out in search engine optimization. We always appreciate that. We're going to dive right into it. We've got, every time Brad Meltzer releases a new book, he's very kind. I reach out, and he always makes time to say, sure, I'll do the show with you. I got to interview him a couple days ago for his tour. He's coming through St. Louis on this tour for his brand new book, The Viper, which is from his Zig and Nola character world. The last one that came out, The Lightning Rod, was just incredible. This one is apparently going to be even better. We already read, I think I'm probably about halfway through the book. They sent me a nice copy ahead of time to kind of review. It's exciting. We're going to hear from Brad about that book now.
Joined once again by New York Times best-selling author Brad Meltzer, a new book out that my wife's incredibly excited about because I introduced her to the Zig and Nola series, and she's like, when's the next one coming out? So, Brad, thrilled that we've got our new installment.
I am so excited that she's excited. That's the most important part to me.
And I put out on my social medias that I would be interviewing you today, and I know my friend Debbie Ladside just saw this book. Evidently, you did the Today Show, and she can't wait to read it either. There's so many people excited about this series. I think not only because of the breadth of work you put out between children's books, comic books, and thrillers like this, so many people see your name, and it's an automatic buy for them. That's got to be an incredible feeling for you.
It is. The thing that I appreciate, and this is kind of very comic book community focused, is those of us in the comic book community understand as readers and as fans how much books mean to us. And when I say that in a Barnes and Noble, like, you can get some nods, but comic book people, we all know that we grew up on this. It gave us our values. It gave us our thing. So I love when it takes me a while to do a thriller. This is the first one I've done in 4 years. But I love seeing that passion come from that community. I love how many people come to my events and bring their Justice League issues, their Identity Crisis copies, Green Arrow. Like, that makes me more happy. Last night I signed a giant Superman, that coffee table book that's so beautiful. So every book is just filled with wonderful people who completely understand this world we move in.
And you just said it's been 4 years since you wrote your last thriller. I always assume, my gosh, he's doing so many other book projects and all these other things he's working on. Is it just take you, even if without those other projects, do you think it still takes about 4 years to really craft this kind of story in your mind?
No, it's because I write the kids' books and because I do the nonfiction. It takes me about 2 years to 3 years to do it, and then there's just extra time because I'm working on other projects, and that's how it goes. But The Viper was this, it was a story I couldn't wait to tell, and needless to say, that's what made me finish it quicker than probably I even thought.
How early on was this particular story about this man who, gives the suit to a mortician?
Let's set it up. So here's the opening. So a man walks into a funeral home carrying his favorite blue suit, and he's got a terminal disease. This is the suit that he wants to be buried in. But here's the thing. If you go to your local bank and you open up a safety deposit box, paperwork gets filed. The government can find it. Same thing if you go to your UPS store and you open up a P.O. box there, like paperwork gets filed. They can find that too. But if you secretly sew something into the lining of your favorite suit and then you hand that suit over to the local mortician, you have an ultimate untraceable hiding spot. And from there, the man goes to his hotel room. There's a guy with a gun waiting, says, "Where is it?" Man says, "I don't know what you're talking about." The guy shoots him dead. That you won't believe what's hidden in that suit or who's about to find it. And that is chapter 1 of The Viper.
And how long ago was this particular, like, I know kind of where I want to go. This is kind of where I want to set the next Zig and Nola series. How long ago was this the idea that was percolating? Or did something strike you like, oh, this is a brilliant idea, I'm going to put this into the next novel?
You know, I found this, this has to be 6-7 years ago. I was walking around a funeral home, but doing research, because why not, right? Like, I love writing about this world. And a buddy was taking me around a funeral home. And usually we go to funeral homes on the worst days. This was like no funeral, light of day. You really get to see stuff. And he showed me, here's where we keep the urns. Here's where we do the embalming. Here's where all the tools and the scalpels are. I'm taking notes and I see this one door that has a big padlock on it. I'm like, well, what's that door? The only thing in the whole place has got a padlock, thick one. And he says, oh, you'll see. And he takes out this key, undoes the padlock, door swings wide. And inside are all these kind of like old suits, like the suits your parents would wear when, if they went to like a fancy affair, like, double-breasted suits that are out of style and a big sequin gown that your mom or your grandparents might wear. And if you're old and you don't have a lot of family, you pick out what you're going to be buried in. Mm-hmm. And what you want to wear. But what was great for me is there were also like Jets jerseys in there. There was a cowboy hat from some guy who was like, my ex-wife hates that cowboy hat. Make sure I'm wearing it in my coffin because I want to piss her off one last time. Like, people are crazy. But my brain saw that and was like, this is the single best hiding spot I've ever seen. No one can track it. In this world where everything is seen, everything's recorded, you can buy a cookie jar right now that's Wi-Fi enabled that will tell you who in your family took the last chocolate chip. But you go to your local mortician and hand them something, then until you die, it'll never be found. And right. I was like, that's the place. And so I always knew that was the beginning of the book, and I knew that was going to be the opening of the Viper. But for me, of course, the fun is not. That's a cheap hook, right? The fun is what do the characters have to say and what are they going through in this book? Because I love reading a good book when I'm entertained, but I like learning something too.
And in the introduction to the book, that's kind of the premise that starts with that walk through the mortuary in the Viper. Is that now you kind of described the mortician? Is that an accurate description of your friend who led you through, or did you embellish his description a little bit?
No, I really did. The funny part is I named the funeral home after him. And in fact, the funeral home has his name on it. And he's the sweetest, nicest guy on the whole planet. But I really did describe mostly, I merged a couple funeral homes together. But I used his, and including that room that you see, all those things you see in there. And I always do that. Like, when, we did witness protection in this book. Yeah. And, I've done the secret tunnels below the Capitol. I've done the secret labyrinth that exists below the White House, which is the bomb shelter and where it leads out. I've done them all. Even the tunnels below Disney World I did in a book. But it was nothing like getting into witness protection. Because witness protection is a place that's like, it's meant to keep secrets. And when we think of witness protection, we think of the end of Goodfellas or that Sopranos episode where Tony's going looking at colleges. We think of the mob. Yeah. And that's basically what the witness protection was created for, to take down the mob. But here's the thing, it actually worked. The mob got taken down. People testified against them, and for a while, the most biggest group in witness protection was mobsters that testified. But also, guess what? Crime didn't disappear. So a new criminal took the place of a mobster, and suddenly gang members became the number one group that was in witness protection. And then 9/11 happened. And we started chasing terrorists. So terrorists became the biggest group. You want to know one of the biggest groups in witness protection right now? Accountants. Because we live in a world of data, right? Like, that's the thing. Information is what is the ultimate weapon these days. So I promise, when you read The Viper, you will never look at witness protection the same way again.
And that's one of those things, like, I think it's just the status of the author you are. You do have kind of, I don't want to say unlimited access. It's not like anyone's just going to show you in. But you do get into these things where what you're describing is accurate because you've been given access. And again, I'm assuming that's just, oh, it's Brad Meltzer. Yeah, let him in. Let him do whatever he wants. Is that the kind of the reception you're getting when you're looking into witness protection or the tunnels underneath the White House?
No, it's always a mix of like asking the right person and finding the right person, which is just, like anything else in life, it's just is hustle, but really it's the kindness of other people. Like if someone called you today and said, "Hey, James, I want to see what it's like to put together a show like yours. Can you give me 15 minutes?" Most people say yes. Now, obviously, that's a little different when you work in the White House or you work in witness protection, you work in those places. So in witness protection, there was a guy who knew my books and knew me and was like, "I can help you. I'm going to tell you this thing. You can't print it, but you need to understand this so I can do you this thing, which you can say that." And I was very careful about it, But you definitely will see things that you didn't know about the history of it and how it works and some fun, cool background things. And those are the things that, they're when you have an inside person, I think people are always like, why are they talking to you? And I think part of it has nothing to do with me. It's that they're so tired of Hollywood being so lazy when they do a movie and getting all the facts wrong.
Right.
Like, I can't tell you how many Secret Service guys are just so annoyed when they watch a movie with the Secret Service and they're like, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. Like, they're just pissed because these guys work so hard. These men and women who serve, they work so hard to do what they do. And they're annoyed when they go see a movie and it's like, you could have made one phone call and made this the way it really is. But instead you just made crap up. And I think, it's a good thing. And also witness protection needs new people to testify. So me showing,
right.
How it works is a good thing.
And speaking of movies, another one of the questions came in from listener Nick Kelly. Brad Meltzer is the greatest. Lots of exclamation points. Has DC ever approached him to make an identity crisis film? They're doing so many of these animated films like Under the Red Hood. And, we just had the Crisis on Infinite Earths 3-parter. You may not even be able to say, but has DC ever come to you and say, hey, what if we did an animated identity crisis? And was that something they would approach, or would they've got in-house people to do the animation thing now?
I don't know. I know my buddy Judd did Under the Red Hood. I know he wrote the script for that one. They haven't asked me, so no news there. But I will tease that I do have something coming up that is going to be fun that I can't say just yet, but we'll be coming up with. I'll just say the big two. Like,
okay,
I have a Marvel thing coming. I have a DC thing coming.
Can you say whether or not? And again, I'm not trying to press you. Can you say whether it's a comic book or whether it's going to be an animated feature or a movie?
No, it's a comic book.
It is okay.
Book.
Okay,
sorry. Yeah. Didn't mean to tease that. And then of course we have Ghost Machine. Our Ghost Machine book. I'm doing with Jeff Johns and I are writing together. Gene Haas drawing, and it's all about and this is true. And if you're not reading Ghost Machine, go read Red Coat. Go read all the Rook and all the amazing books that they're putting out. But I love working with those Ghost Machine guys, and there's a true story. Is ever since Abraham Lincoln's son died, people in the White House think that the White House is haunted. And so it's a book that's all about the ghosts that haunt the White House to this day. It's called First Ghost. And Jeff and Gene and I are working on it. Gene's pages are coming in on a regular basis, and they're just gorgeous. And that should be out, hopefully, I think, around the summertime.
No, that just the pedigree. As soon as you announced, like we said at the very beginning, when you say a certain writer or an artist, the comic book community knows, and Gene Haas art is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
When Gene's the thing that I love, this is the thing is I'm still always going to be like, my favorite part of writing comics, my actual favorite part is when my hard stuff is done, the writing, and then you spend that time and you open up your email and there's that page from Gene Ha. I just got a Marvel page that just came in. I was just like, oh, and I'm on book tour right now, and I'm regularly between interviews and things and in airports, and I'm opening up that art and looking at it again because I am just like, this is so cool that we get to do this.
And I know one of the things I love having you on is because you are so immersed in pop culture. I was going to ask a couple of questions. I wanted to see, you mentioned the White House and the presidential thing. Have you had a chance to see Death by Lightning about James Garfield?
I haven't. No, I know the guys that, I know they did, and I love the casting of it. It's friggin' perfect casting. But yeah, I've been obsessed, and I've even written a book that goes through the Garfield assassination. So I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
And I haven't talked to you since Superman came out this summer. How did you like Superman from James Gunn?
I loved it. Listen, I told James when I saw him, I went to the premiere. Like I said, he just has a complete understanding of that character, right? That moment when he go home to Smallville, and if you look at it again, Lois, there's no dialogue. Lois is just looking around that house, looking around that room, and realizing that amazing person, Superman, comes from this.
Yeah.
And there's the understanding of the character. I always say Superman never is not Superman because his powers are Krypton or anything else. He's Superman because of that kindness that he learned in Kansas from Mom and Pa. And you'll see in the thing that I'm working on with DC, that is face front forward right there. Same way, I can't wait for Supergirl. Tom King is one of my dear friends, and I love it's. I think what he and I always pronounce her name wrong, Bisquay. I always pronounce it incorrectly, but they built a masterpiece.
Yeah,
Supergirl is a masterpiece, and it shows you how much James Gunn understands the character. That the second movie he's putting out is the best Supergirl story that's ever been written.
Yeah, I know so many people are excited about that. And I want to ask, too, do we have another I Am book coming out? Because I know I'm sitting here poking you like you're not busy enough. Hey, do another one. I just got to meet Chris for the very first time at Terrificon this past summer. And he came through here, was at the Magic House doing a signing. So I was just curious, is there another one coming out that you can tell us about?
Yeah, it's coming out in just a few weeks. I was really, we've done I'm Amelia Earhart, I'm Abraham Lincoln, for those who don't know, these books about real heroes, and Chris is the amazing artist who draws them, and he's just a genius. And both of us wanted to do a book about empathy. Our kids are starving for empathy right now. Cruelty and venom and the lack of humility in the culture, being mean to each other has just become almost like sport in our culture at this point.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a sign. That venom is just a sign of cruelty. It's a sign of weakness and petty insecurity. And what takes strength is being a nice person. And so we did a whole book on empathy. So the new I Am book is I Am Princess Diana.
Oh, lovely.
And that comes out, and it's such a good book. We just did I Am Simone Biles, which was really a book about mental health. But we are really just looking at what kids need right now, what they're struggling with. And I can tell you from my own kids to, Chris's, to anyone else out there, our kids are struggling with mental health. They're struggling with empathy right now. We have to do right by them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's the perfect time for that to come out. And again, if you're listening to this right now, also mark your calendars on Wednesday. Brad's going to be right here in St. Louis. You can come to the library. We'll have a link to that in the show notes if you're wanting to come out and see him. He's going to be debuting the Viper here for us in St. Louis. You can grab copies while you're there, or you can bring your copy if you've already got it, have him sign it. And like he said at the beginning, he'll sign comic books. I had him sign my giant Identity Crisis poster the last time he came through town. So bring your Green Arrow comics.
By the way, can I just say one thing that was so nice is you gave me one of those Justice League posters that I never had, and that was so kind of you. And people need to know how kind you are. You are a man of empathy, and I can't wait. So if you are thinking right now, hey, I wonder if I could bring my comics for me to sign at the St. Louis event at the St. Louis Library, bring them. I will happily sign them.
And it's always great to see you, and we really appreciate you passing through St. Louis. A lot of authors kind of hit the bigger cities, but I know St. Louis holds a special place in your heart, so thank you for coming into town, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you there. The Viper is out now, so grab it at your local bookstore, and we'll see you at the event on Wednesday. Brad Meltzer, thank you once again for your time. It's always a pleasure.
Can't wait. Thanks so much.
There he goes. So again, that's going to be this coming Wednesday, the 14th, at the Clark Family Branch of the St. Louis County Library. It is it's not a ticketed event, so if you want to go meet Brad, check out this book, bring some of your other books. If you've got some of those I Am books, if you have some of his other Zig and Nola books, if you've got some of his history books, like the one we covered, the assassination plot against Churchill, Stalin, and Roosevelt that he just came through and toured with, or you've got comic books, you've got some Green Arrow books or Justice League books that he wrote, comic book wise, he'll sign it all. So bring it to the event. Get there early because the doors open, I think, at 6, and the event starts at 7. But that last time I was at one of his events, it was busy. So get there early to make sure you get the best seating. Bring your stuff and come listen to one of the best authors of our time talk about this new book that he's got out, The Viper, available in bookstores everywhere. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We are going to come right back in just a moment.
The Big 550.
That's not the one I wanted to hit, Joey. This is the one I wanted to hit. There we go. And we got an extra legal ID, and we don't have to play at the end. That's fine. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in disguise.
Attack the Autobot commander! Call in the Decepticon leader!
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers from Hasbro.
Oh, this town's changed.
We switched it around. Now we're playing cops and robbers. You'll be the robber.
Okay.
The new Hot Wheels USA Builder Set. Sheriff Patrol Car and Camaro Z28, each sold separately.
It's going up.
You have to put the set together, and you can change it around.
Hey, wasn't there a road here?
Not anymore, Dad.
Hot Wheels USA Builder Set. Not for use with Hot Wheels Hauler. Hot Wheels cars sold separately. New from Mattel.
The Legoland Beta 1 command base. You build it for action. You can pretend the radar sounds an alert, a signal to the crew. So you slide them to the launch pad for a make-believe rescue. And how about the new mobile rocket transport? You can...
Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, this is Adrienne Barbeau, a.k.a. Stevie Wayne, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstall. Shout out to our friends here in the chats. Pat Hayes listening from right here in St. Louis. We've got SJ listening from Southern California. I'm sure the weather's probably a little warmer out there than it is here, but we do appreciate all of you listening. My new friend from Threads, D Boogie, is listening tonight. He is found out he's another person who does radio like me, which was kind of cool. We just connected on Threads tonight, and he said he'd be listening. So hello, D Boogie. Thank you for being on the show tonight. Very first show you're hearing. Hopefully we're not messing up too badly. Another radio person judging me out there, but that's okay. We want to make sure we tell you about our premier sponsor, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. The website is discoverstcharles.com. If you are looking for something to do, maybe you've got a list, your New Year's resolution was to travel more, see something new, try new things. St. Charles has all the things that could satisfy your New Year's resolution list. You can start at the website, discoverstcharles.com, plan your trip, plan where you want to stay. If you want to stay in one of the fabulous hotels that we have in the area, if you want a little bed and breakfast, kind of rustic throwback, or maybe you like to camp. We've got all sorts of places for any kind of stay you might want to have. Check it out at the website, discoverstcharles.com. Then there's all the places to eat. You're not going to get bored because you can have a different meal, all 3 meals every day for 2 weeks and never go back to the same place. However, I'm a creature of habit. There are certain places I really like to hit, like Novellis or like the Main House on South Main, or some place you might want to hit the streets of St. Charles for some place a little more vibey, as the kids say. No matter what your taste, no matter what you're looking for, City of St. Charles had you covered. Start your trip at the website again, discoverstcharles.com. There's always something going on. It's whether it's a fun festival like the Once Upon a Valentine's Day Festival coming up in February, or one of their ice sculpting events that they have coming up this month. Just hit the Bricks tour. As soon as spring comes, you can hit the Bricks with a guide who will take you out, show you all the scenic things up and down North and South Main Street. It's a great experience to have, whether you're living in Alton, Illinois, whether you're right here in Bridgeton or Maryland Heights, Missouri. Maybe you just haven't been across the bridge for a while. Check it out. Again, discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. We're watching the Golden Globes happen. St. Louis native Nikki Glazer is hosting once again. And I've got Joey V in studio with me. We're going to briefly give our thoughts on the Golden Globes. Were there any surprises tonight that you were kind of surprised, or do you think was an upset in your mind, Joey?
I don't think so. I mean, it is the Hollywood Foreign Press is what they're normally called. And so it's a lot of critics and journalists who write overseas. So whenever something gets elevated as a foreign film, it makes it to the top and it wins, I'm not that surprised. So when Skarsgård won, that was actually, it made sense because they're all foreign journalists, but I feel like he doesn't care about campaigning and he didn't even have a speech ready. And it was just wonderful to see him win. It's called Sentimental Value, is the movie that he won for. And it's a very sweet movie about a guy who's a director who wants to make a movie about his daughters because he was an absentee father and he wants to make it in the house in which he was absent. The daughters live there and he wants to make a movie there. And so a movie about movies that is Norwegian, I think that makes sense for the Golden Globes. For him to win an Oscar, though, that seems crazy if that were to happen.
Yeah.
We'll find out. The nominations come out on the 22nd, I believe, of January. So we'll find out if he's even nominated.
I loved him in Andor, one of the best characters in that whole series. I know, obviously, I think we were both pretty much, we figured K-pop Demon Hunters would win for Best Animated Motion Picture. I was very happy to see Gene Smart win for Hacks because that's one of these shows I just kind of stumbled on, and it is so good. Gene Smart's great. Hannah Einbinder is great. Fantastic cast. It's a great series. I've not had a single episode. I think it's just finished its 4th season, and I've not disliked a single episode. It's always been entertaining, funny, heartfelt. Is that one you've ventured into?
I'm not a big fan of television, so I'll always watch the first season of something, and then I'll just fade off, and then my girl will keep watching it.
Right.
So she's kept watching Hacks, and she tells me how much she loves it. And I really enjoyed the first season. I like movies because they have an ending. TV shows, they never write an ending because they want to keep going for 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah. No, that was, I think I was surprised also that the best female actor, I was rooting for Claire Danes because that's one of the ones we saw, The Beast in Me, and that was a juggernaut when it first came out on Netflix. Everyone was talking about it. But Michelle Williams won for Dying for Sex. Is that one you've seen, or is that another, it's television, so you didn't end up seeing it at all?
One I have not seen. I love Michelle Williams and her taste, but she didn't show up to the award show. So based on James Install's rules, she should not have even won.
Yep. I love Catherine O'Hara, but she was not in the audience. And I said, nope, she's disqualified. You can't win, which she didn't win anyway. Which evidently I'm sleeping on Adolescence.
Adolescence is incredible. It's only 4 episodes, but it's shot where each episode is basically in real time with one camera that follows them nonstop. So a big oneer, as they call it. And each episode talks about this kid who has some anger issues and what happens when he gets in trouble, does something terrible, and how the family deals with it. It's really good.
I'll have to check that one out then as well.
One surprise was cinematic and box office achievement. So Golden Globes fake award show, the giving away a fake award, cinematic box office achievement. Avatar was nominated before it even came out. But you can still argue, obviously, it's an achievement. But Sinners won that, so that was a win for the good guys, I'd say. Everyone thinks highest grossing movie should always win box office achievement, but Sinners was truly one guy's vision. Ryan Coogler wrote it, directed, and then it is a horror film, and it made a ton of money as well, and single-handedly, as Nikki Glazer jokes, saved Warner Brothers for 1 month. And then Warner Brothers is on the chopping block, and she's actually taking bids in the audience. She started it at $5. Who would like to buy Warner Brothers?
I'd say other than Ricky Gervais, she's been probably my favorite host. She's really got a good, it's that nice line between kind of a biting, the biting barbs, but also she does the singing bits, like she just did her Marty Supreme K-pop Demon Hunter mashup that she did a while ago. So
yeah, I was able to watch the monologue with volume on. Right now at the radio station, we're watching it with subtitles on.
Yeah.
But at home, I was watching it, and she just started right out the gate with, I'm here with a bunch of A-listers, and by that I mean a bunch of people on A-list, the Epstein list, and the award for best editing goes to the Department of Justice for redacting everyone's names. And I just love that she went after the celebrities.
Yeah, but like Ricky Gervais did that the times he has hosted. We've still got a few more coming up, I guess. I know I've said my feelings before. Timothée Chalamet, he won for Marty Supreme, beating out George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio, which was a surprise because I knew you and I have talked in the past. I've not seen one battle after another yet, but you said that was going to be the one to beat, and it's got a majority of the nominations.
Yeah, one battle after another is just sweeping in a not literally. Why would I say that? But best director, best screenplay, best supporting actress. It didn't win for Benicio, but he was incredible. So it's really doing well. I think it will win best comedy at the Golden Globes. And I think it's going to win the Oscar for best picture, one battle after another.
And I haven't seen If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. The Rose Byrne won for that. But yeah, one battle after another is won director and screenplay, like you said. K-Pop Demon Hunter also won Best Original Song. And they had the podcast category tonight, which this kind of bugs me. It's like,
they didn't even ask you, James.
There's very few things that I can do when all these celebrities are in their movies and the TV shows, and they've decided, hey, let's all get into podcasting too and ruin it for all of us peons down here plugging away. It's like they can't let us have anything, Joey.
Yeah, Nikki Glazer joked, like, you podcasters should not be in the same room as Julia Roberts. But, of course, Amy Schumer wins because she's the most famous person who has the podcast that was nominated. Amy Schumer, how dare I? See, Amy Schumer is best friends with Nikki Glazer, and she's been in the news a lot for her divorce and her weight loss, so I apologize. But yes, Amy Schumer is the one who won for best podcast. All women, all these white women, they look alike to me. I apologize.
But no, it's and we knew Smartless because that's been kind of a big podcast for the past several years with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett.
And the others, and the rest.
And the rest, as they say on Gilligan's Island, yeah. And yeah, other than that, I didn't think there were anything that really kind of bugged me or surprised me or anything like that of the winners. I was pulling for Sterling K. Brown because obviously he's a St. Louis boy.
Mm-hmm.
But Noah Wyle, I know The Pit. My wife loves The Pit, and that's been something that everyone's been talking about as well.
Yeah, the new episode just plopped, and I think there's another 15-hour-long season where they do 1 hour at a time in an emergency room. My girl loves it, and it was supposed to be an actual ER reboot, and I guess they couldn't get the rights from the Crichton family or NBC or something, so they just made an ER ripoff, and it's great. It's great that HBO has it. They're making great television, and it comes out 1 episode at a time per week. I kind of like that more than the big dump. It lets you digest shows better.
I agree. I'm kind of to that point, too, because that's how I grew up watching TV, and I feel like when you binge something all at once, it gets kind of muddy in your mind. You're like, oh, was that season 2 or was that season 4 this happened? Whereas if you're watching episodically and you get a break in between seasons, I feel like it cements it better in my mind.
Yeah,
So-
I guess The Pit just won for Best Drama. I guess people have had more time with it because Pluribus is my favorite show of the season. And I absolutely love that. But that's on Apple TV also. So that's Vince Gilligan, the guy who did Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. He's doing this sci-fi show with Rhea Seehorn, the woman from Better Call Saul, and I highly recommend Pluribus if you can muster up the money to go and get your Apple TV subscription.
Yeah.
But all the episodes are out right now, so you could binge it if you want. But I loved watching Pluribus, 1 episode a week.
I know, I don't think if I've talked to you about it yet or not, but I just recently watched Death by Lightning with
You're a historical
Michael
guy
Shannon.
too, yeah.
It was so good, but I'm thinking the reason it's not nominated because it was excellent is it just missed the cutoff, I'm assuming?
Maybe that's got to be right because Adolescence for Best Miniseries is so old. I watched that, I feel like at the beginning of the year, but it just didn't have that timing for it to be on last year's Golden Globes. So that makes sense.
Yeah, but if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, Death by Lightning, if you're a history buff, it's about James Garfield's rise to the presidency and the guy who ends up assassinating him. It's just 4 episodes long on Netflix. Michael Shannon and the guy from Severance who plays, not Severance, Succession, who plays Tom, the husband. It's not coming yet. That's right. But anyway, highly recommended. Very good series. 4 episodes long, so you're in and out. And it's on Netflix right now, Death by Lightning, so check that out.
You're going to have to give up watching television altogether because you've made a New Year's resolution where you're trying to watch or at least log on Letterboxd 1 thing a day. I was successful this past year where I logged 365 things, and that included some Oscar shorts, but it also included the miniseries Task, which is, like 8 hours long. So it's a give and take. If you want to go through and say stand-up specials don't count, okay, I get it. But I did log 365 things. I wrote 339 reviews, and I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, is just really upping my output of using my brain to create sentences. So often we're on our phones, but are we actually creating anything that reminds us of our childhood? Like, we don't know penmanship anymore, I bet, because we're just typing everything out. So I like that I'm writing reviews, and it's making me talk gooder.
I print all of my things. When I write stuff out, I print them by hand. And because if I try to do cursive, it looks like I did when I still first learned cursive in 3rd grade. So that's just why I go to printing now.
I saw 45 movies in the theater this past year, and I only paid for 10 of them because we're on the special newsletter email blast where we get invited to these screenings. So thank you to our friends over at Allied. But that's that's something I'm really proud of. 45 times in the theater. If I were to do the math, that's like one a week almost.
Almost, nearly, yeah.
And I'm excited for Monday, where I'm going to see one of my most anticipated films of the entire year, actually, is 28 Years Later 2, The Bone Temple, with Ralph Fiennes. I think that they call January and February dumpuary because the bad movies are kind of thrown in. But you always have a good chance of a horror film. Horror knows that they're not going to be recognized for awards, and horror has a good chance of being good in January and February. Like Scream 7, you'd think that'd be October, right?
Right.
They're coming out in February. And same thing with 28 Years Later. And I really enjoyed Primate. That's out right now. So I'm a big horror fan, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Bone Temple tomorrow night as well. So we'll see. I did not like the first part of it. I
loved it. I liked how it got freaky weird. I love the ending as well, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just it didn't do it for me. We'll see if the sequel maybe drives it home better. Who knows? But let's go ahead and take another quick break. We'll come back, and then we'll talk about movies more. You've got your review of Primate. We'll talk a little about some of the movies that we have on our list looking forward to in 2026 as we start the year off. So stick around. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550. Please stand by.
Make a face to glow at night. Smiling friend, shining bright. Make a sign to say goodnight.
Just pop in the colored pegs and follow the patterns. It's easy to make your favorite pictures and characters, or you can always create your own light pictures.
Light bright. Turn on the magic of shining light.
Light Bright from Milton Bradley.
A secret is revealed when innocent-looking vehicles and ordinary men become an awesome fighting team. It's the secret of Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Go under the microfilm.
Mask vehicles each sold separately with action figures.
That doesn't stop me.
Switchblade attacks.
He's out.
Rhino retaliates. Sato creates a diversion. Rhino reveals its hidden firepower.
Gotcha.
Mask, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
The Micro Machine Man here, presenting the genuine, original, colossally collectible, most midget miniature replicas of the real things. Micro Machines. Dramatically detailed, stupendously styled, smaller than a nut, this one or this one. And now with a totally terrific town, the new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox playset. Closed, it's a mild-mannered toolbox. Open, it's a Micro Machine USA.
Commercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Enjoy convenient and secure service with Royal Banks of Missouri's interactive teller machines. Visit an ITM outside any Royal Banks location to speak with a live banker to receive real-time support for all your banking needs from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. to 2 on Saturdays. Visit royalbanksofmo.com/locations to find an interactive teller machine near you. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show, Geek to Me Radio. I'm your host, James Enstall. Right across the board from me, Joey V. We're talking movies tonight. Before we get into that, though, we're going to tell you about comic books. The best place to buy comic books in St. Louis. Bugs, comics, and games. Head on out there. Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri. Easily accessible from either Highway 70 or from Highway 364. Go out there and get your new issues every Wednesday. If you want to look up back issues, if you're trying to dig into some Supergirl comics before that new movie comes out, or if you're wanting to check out some other comics, maybe you've heard about the Skybound universe from Image that they're doing in their Skybound imprint with Transformers and Void Rivals and G.I. Joe. That has been so good. Then you can get those there as well. What you're going to want to do when you get there is say, hi, I heard about it on Geek to Me Radio. I want to start a pull list so I don't miss comic books every week. Give Larry the pull list you want. Say, I want to get G.I. Joe. I want to get the new Amazing Spider-Man. I want to get the new Infernal Hulk. I want to get Mark Waid's World's Finest. Give him your list. That way, if you don't get there on Wednesday, let's say something comes up, you can't get there on Wednesday, you won't be able to get there until Thursday or Friday. The comics are sitting in a bag, pristine, waiting for you. Is this just as if they're pulled off the shelf when you arrived? You won't miss an issue if it sells out or anything like that at all. So start your pull list. And then other thing you're going to do is join the Avengers Club. That way you start saving money. You sign them up. You get your name and email address. You pick out a comic book character. It doesn't have to be Marvel, even though it's the Avengers Club. It can be DC. It can be Image. It can be Dynamite. It can be Valiant, whoever you want. and you'll get an assignment for that character. You start saving money on your weekly books, on your back issues, whatever it is you're buying there. So you're getting your books safe and sound without having to worry about them selling out, and you're saving money. What could be better than that? Bugs Comics and Games. Follow him on Instagram as well. Bugs Comics AND Games. And also he's got the Facebook page, Bugs Comics and Games, there as well. So like that page, follow him on Instagram. He'll put stuff up from time to time on Instagram that he has for sale. If you don't have a local comic book shop in your area, let him be your local comic book shop online. Say, yep, I saw your comic on Instagram. I want that one. He sends you a PayPal invoice. You pay it. He ships it out to your house or apartment or domicile, whatever it is you might live. And it's safe and sound and secure, just like you picked it up, again, right off the rack that day. Bugs Comics and Games. Very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Chatting for the rest of the hour here with Joey V about movies. We're talking about, before we dig into our movies, our most anticipated, and you said there were some bottom ones you weren't looking forward to at all. You saw Primate. I did not. If you would, please, Joey V, give us your review on Primate.
Yeah, Primate, it's about a family who live in a secluded mansion in Hawaii, high up on a hill. And they have a chimp that they've raised like it was part of the family. And then one day the chimp starts acting strange after the family finds a dead mongoose in his cage, and he's got a bite on his arm. Ooh. And then hijinks ensue. This movie Primate is so brutal. I was not expecting it to be so gory, so disgusting. The practical effects are wonderful. I mean, it's actual, chimp suits and animatronics and puppetry. And that, even if you think the chimp suit looks a little fake, I'm still impressed that it was real, that they used real gore from, these special effects masters. And that is something that always gets me excited because real craft was used. It wasn't AI.
Right.
I love that. And it had me yelling constantly, just, oh my God, some of the gore. This chimp picks up a rock and does something so horrible, I thought that's too far. Even for my horror films, I thought, I don't know if I can even recommend this to someone because they may throw up watching this movie. Oof. So if you are a gore hound, I highly recommend it. And, I've had experience with chimps. I've been to Universal Studios 3 times, and I've met King Kong. So I knew the damage that they could do going in. But I just didn't expect it from someone who was basically part of the family. You know, they raised this chimp to speak sign language, and they also had a tablet where it could touch, and it would speak through the tablet. And the thing you learn, if you ever watch that documentary, Chimp Crazy, they go crazy about 8 years old and start ripping off faces. We've seen some of that in the news. That movie Nope? Yeah. There was a chimp ripping off someone's face in that, and that's based on real life story. So you always have to be careful. But with rabies, it's a different thing because you don't expect it at all. It's not like he gradually got meaner and meaner as he got older. So I could relate to that also. My girl was really traumatized, re-traumatized watching Primate because we have a cat, and he's had issues with this thing called misdirected aggression. And that's where he'll be sitting on the couch looking out the window. And if he sees another cat that he wants to kill, but he can't get to it, he'll try and kill the next thing he sees. So he'll turn around and he'll see you and try and attack you. And that's happened to us a couple times where we would take him outside in our backyard and it's fenced in, and then he sees a possum or something. He can't get to it, and he turns on us and starts attacking our leg. And we've tried things like using these calming sprays or throwing a blanket over him. And, shutting the blinds, that has worked. So it kind of took her back to those times where we've had our cat turn on us. A loved one that you have in your home decides to try and kill you. So she was a little upset, but I highly recommend it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, Primate, if you are a horror fan. And there's a lot of horror homages. Some may call it stealing, just straight up stealing. But you'll notice when you see it, Shining, Aliens, Halloween, all of those movies, Silence of the Lambs, you'll see direct homages to that, and you may appreciate it. I appreciated it. But these kids that are in the movie, they are a little stupid, but that's fun too. Go see it in the theater with a crowded bunch of, with a crowd, and then they will also get you excited too as they're yelling at the screen. That was my experience. I saw it at the Esquire, which is kind of in the city. So it was a different demographic than maybe you'd see at Ronnie's or something. So it was a lot of fun.
All right. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not too bad. It wasn't really, it looked, I thought it would be as brutal as you're saying it's going to be just based on the preview. So that's why I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to see it because I got a thing with the animals anyway.
Yeah, something that's that's really got going for it is it's got Oscar winner Troy Kotsur as one of the main stars. He was in Coda, he's a deaf actor. He's like the second deaf actor to win the Oscar after Marlee Matlin. And that ties into the movie because he's deaf. He can't hear a chimp screaming and ripping apart someone in the next room.
Right.
So I love that dynamic as well.
Huh. Interesting. Speaking of movies, we've got Olivia Miller says, what about the upcoming movie Send Help? It's coming out at the end of this month. Have you heard about that one? Is that on your list either way?
Very excited about that because that's Sam Raimi, who obviously is Evil Dead and Spider-Man director. So I trust him. He got thrown in halfway into that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie and did what he could to bring in some gore that I appreciated. So I think in Sam Raimi's hands that it's going to be a lot of fun. It's got Rachel McAdams, and she gets stuck on an island with her boss who's been really mean to her, and now she has the upper hand. So we'll see if it's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's going to be supernatural. Sometimes I think that with Sam Raimi, that's always going to be supernatural, but I haven't seen that from the trailers.
No, I didn't get that impression either. It looks interesting. I'm not sure if it's probably up on my list of like, I can't wait to see it, or if it's down in the, I don't care. But I know you've got a list of both ends of the spectrum on that. I will say, I'd say probably my two most anticipated films as of now. Fantastic Four has kind of renewed my love/interest in the MCU, which was waning terribly after their last couple of outings. But I am excited for Avengers Doomsday, especially I'm loving all the things people are putting on social media. Like they're putting up, Arnold from Different Strokes will return in Avengers Doomsday. And I put something Barb Holland from Stranger Things will return in Avengers Doomsday. People are doing that with all these different celebrities because we keep seeing all these things about Cap, Thor, and Iron Man all coming back. The original three from the first Avengers movie. So I'm interested. I want to see how they do it. I want to see how they pull it off. Not a big fan of them casting Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, but hopefully they'll pull it off. We'll see. And then my other one I'm very much looking forward to is Ready or Not 2, because that was probably one of my favorite movies of I think it was 2019. The original came out. I love that movie. I liked the surprise ending. I liked the build up to it. I liked that it wasn't an overly hyped movie, and it really delivered on all fronts for me. So I'd say those are my two most anticipated ones. And Olivia Miller, my thoughts for the new Supergirl movie. People are pinning this on James Gunn. They're like, oh, James Gunn doesn't understand the character. This isn't a James Gunn movie. He's not writing or directing this one. So I think people are kind of going off the deep end about that. I think it's going to be a good movie. It's based on the graphic novel by, I think, Tom King. Now I'm blanking. I think Tom King did the graphic novel. But it looks like it's almost a perfect adaptation of that. I'm excited. I think it's going to be pretty good. I was a fan of the Superman movie. It didn't blow me away, but it was also better than the dark, kind of gritty stuff that we were getting from the Zack Snyder world. So Supergirl, Olivia Miller, to answer your question, I am excited about Supergirl as well. So Joey V, your most excited movies, ones that have you the most pumped?
Well, I like to say original movies. So obviously, when you're looking at a big screen of tile posters, you're going to be drawn to the sequels because you're going to instantly recognize that. So I tried to dig deep into some ones that are original. And if you saw The Martian with Matt Damon, where he was a potato farmer out in space, the guy who wrote that book, Andy Weir, he had a follow-up book, not really a sequel, but a follow-up book about space called Project Hail Mary. And that's coming out with Ryan Gosling in February. And so just because it's space and The Martian seemed like it was a really smart source material, I think I'm excited about Project Hail Mary. And then The Odyssey. Now you'd say that's a sequel, prequel, whatever, but it's Christopher Nolan doing something more original than Batman. And he's doing an epic, and he's using practical effects and building these boats, and Matt Damon is, getting jacked. I think he said he's down to 160 pounds, which is a crazy thing to think about. And so I am excited about The Odyssey as well, what that'll look like in IMAX. And my girl, I'll throw her in. She's most excited about the Hunger Games prequel, Sunrise on the Reaping.
Really?
Yeah, she loves those books. Her family reads those books. They pass them around. So she thinks that Jesse Plemons is excellent casting for a young Philip Seymour Hoffman, which if you saw The Master, Paul Thomas Anderson made, they were in The Master together as father and son. So that's kind of genius casting. If you're not going to go with Philip Seymour Hoffman's actual son, Cooper, then Jesse Plemons is a great choice for that.
No, I could see that. Are there ones that, because I know you said you had some bottom ones as well.
I had my bottom ones for 2025, my 5 worst movies that I saw. But
okay.
As far as, sequels, Weapons is exciting to me because I loved Weapons, an original horror film by Zach Cregger. So he's working on Resident Evil that'll come out this year. And so he wants to do an original Resident Evil movie based on the video games, nothing to do with the past movies. So, since I love Zach Cregger and Barbarian and Weapons so much, I'm excited about that. And Mortal Kombat 2 got pushed back, and that trailer actually looked pretty interesting. They took it out from last year, so I wonder what they needed to fix.
Huh.
Do you want to hear my worst of 2025 that I saw in the theaters?
Please.
Oh, my goodness. He was just on the screen, too. Matt Marlon Wayans. Him is the worst movie I've seen all year long. That was the football movie.
Yeah.
Where he was training a young kid, and he tortures him. And it was just not as exciting as the trailer made it, and it was absolutely awful.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm glad you didn't have to go see it with me. And then Death of a Unicorn, Paul Rudd. I mean, that looked like it was going to be hilarious. No, they dropped the ball on that. Happy Gilmore 2, didn't see it in theaters, but just what a waste of everyone's time. Just making that the most seen movie ever on Netflix just because people are curious and they start it and then they realize this is just people come back from the dead constantly. Everyone's the son of somebody or somebody. I hated Happy Gilmore 2. And then Jurassic World, it was awful just because of the premise. A Snickers wrapper gets caught in the door of this high-tech facility, and then the dinosaurs get out. Like, what? Why is that the premise of your movie? Did Snickers pay that much money for you to make an entire movie based on them? Zootopia 2, I'm obviously wrong. I hated Zootopia 2, but it's like number 3 grossing movie of the year.
It's killing it.
Oh, my goodness. That's my bottom 5 of the year. Jurassic World, Happy Gilmore 2, Death of a Unicorn, Zootopia 2, and Him.
I didn't see... The only one I saw of those, I think, was Jurassic World and Happy Gilmore 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been doing something, so since we're talking movies, Letterboxd, the app, Joey V got me on this app. I was able to log my movies. I'm like, this is great because now I can start seeing what movies did I see. If someone said, what movie did you see last year? I can pull up the diary, and it's right there. If any of you are watching right now on YouTube, there is my profile. You can check that out on Letterboxd. If you have the app, you can follow me on there. So I've decided I'm going to watch one movie a day for every single day of the year so far. And I've revisited some that I'm like, they're not on my Letterboxd yet because obviously I watched these a long time ago. But I've also been trying to catch some new ones that I've never seen before. So far, I started the year with Dark City, which was such a brilliant film from 1998. It predated The Matrix by about a year and it was The Matrix before The Matrix came out. It's a very, very good movie. Rufus Sewell, Kiefer Sutherland, and Jennifer Connelly. Have you seen this one?
I have. I just watched it this last year.
It's very good, and that's why I started the movie out, because sitting down on New Year's Day, my wife said, what do you want to watch? There's anything you want to watch at all? I asked her if she'd seen this. She hadn't. I'm like, oh, you got to see this. To my surprise, she really dug it because she's very picky about her movies, what she does like and doesn't like. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this for the rest of the year. I'm just going to keep watching. So I went back and rewatched Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. There's the 4 Herbie movies from back in the day. They had the original Love Bug, Herbie Rides Again. They had Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo and Herbie Goes Bananas. Those were the original 4 movies. This one had Don Knotts in it. So, of course, I picked that one to go back and revisit because I love Don Knotts. This one I'd not seen yet, Prey, which was the Predator franchise movie. It came out of the Native American girl who's out in the plains and this Predator comes down. It was so good. I understand why everyone was so excited about it and how much they loved it. I do remember seeing some negative reviews about it back when it came out in 2022, but I can't fathom why they didn't like it because I thought it was really good.
I think it was maybe a quieter film.
Yeah.
So
not as much action heavy.
Yeah, but I think it was fascinating as well, just watching what could happen from someone trying to plan these traps and kill someone, but you're just kind of in the forest.
Right. Yeah, it was really good. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, I had not seen that one. Came out in 2024, which I love because it's based on real stories that were in Winston Churchill's declassified files after World War II. So it scratched a bunch of my itches. It takes place in World War II. It's got a bunch of people beating up Nazis. It's got Alan Rich. It's got Henry Cavill. It's got, I can't remember the gentleman's name who played a young Ian Fleming, who we all know Ian Fleming did serve in the ministry during World War II. That's where he got a lot of his ideas to write James Bond about. After that, we did Heavy Metal, which I'd never seen, from 1981. That was decent. We've got Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. So I was thinking about I'm just going to go through and watch the original 6. But then as I'm going through stuff, Galaxy Quest came up on my feed. I'm like, I got to watch Galaxy Quest.
I bought Galaxy Quest on 4K Blu-ray, and it was on such a tiny screen. There was black bars around the entire thing, and I said, is this right? I was looking at the back of my box and making sure it was the 4K version, and then 20 minutes in, it expands and the movie takes up the full screen. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. When he goes into space, the movie becomes the actual widescreen version.
Interesting.
And I felt like an idiot because I had seen Galaxy Quest, but I forgot that. I probably was watching it on, Cinemax or something, and they were doing pan and scan back in the day. So it was great to rewatch it.
I wonder if I even noticed that, or if Tubi would have had that. That may have been a 4K feature, maybe?
I don't know. If you didn't see black bars around even the sides, then yeah, maybe they had some sort of weird version, so they didn't want to confuse people.
But that movie is it holds up so well. It's such a great movie. And then my first James Bond movie on the list, Octopussy, I decided to watch that. Runaway from 1984 with Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons as the villain, which is another one I had not seen before. And this afternoon, I ended up watching The Equalizer. I've not seen any of those Denzel Washington movies. I know there's 3 of them out now, so we went ahead and started with the first Equalizer. So that brings you up to date on my... Are there any movies that you'll go back and revisit, just like a comfort movie you'll put in just to, I'm not really wanting to watch anything new. I want to watch a movie, though?
I do love Big Lebowski. And then when you have this giant TV that I have, 77-inch OLED, and you buy these 4K movies, and you'd only watch them on a tiny screen back in the day, it's like you're rewatching it for the first time. And you don't really think about it, but the cinematography on Big Lebowski is actually beautiful. And there's a scene where they're doing naked trampoline stuff on a beach, and it's just lit so beautifully. And you go, I'm so glad I bought this. I'm up to 55 4Ks so far that I've got. And I just picked up American Werewolf in London and the Lord of the Rings trilogy for Christmas. So I'm excited to watch those.
I skipped on the 6th, I watched Frankenstein. I hadn't seen that one yet, the brand new one that Guillermo del Toro was nominated for. It was, you talked about lighting. The lighting on some of those scenes, the cinematography was gorgeous. I'm a big fan of the Kenneth Branagh version from 1994, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This was such a great film. I'm not surprised it got nominated for some stuff. I'm a little disappointed it hasn't won anything yet, though.
Speaking of dead people, let me count down my top 5 deads of this past year. Coming at number 5, we've got Hulk Hogan, Suburban Commando Zone. Number 4, Gene Hackman. Oh, what a legend. Robert Redford. I just watched one of his movies the other day just to be with him again. Val Kilmer, of course, legend. And then Rob Reiner, number 1. That's interesting that these in memoriams, what they're going to do for the Oscars this year, because it could be a little prickly because Conan is the host and Rob Reiner was actually killed after he went to Conan's party. Rob Reiner and his wife and his son were at Conan's party, and then the son started acting erratically, so they left, and then that night it all went down. So I wonder what the in memoriam will be like this year.
Interesting. Oh, and Olivia Miller mentioned Ozzy Osbourne.
I don't know what movies he's been in. Yeah. This was all just movies.
Oh, just
for
movie
me.
stuff. I know he's been in some films.
I'm sure he has. Makes me think of The Dirt with the Motley Crue biopic where he was snorting ants off of the pool deck like it was cocaine. But that wasn't actually Ozzy. That was someone playing him.
Right. Pat Hayes says, just watched How Green Was My Valley again yesterday. Great dialogue-driven film. That's I don't. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen that. I do know of it, but I haven't seen that one. If I've seen it, it's been 20 years at least since I've seen that one. And here we are, another hour has flown by. I'm going to start syncing up our outro music to play here as we leave the show. Thank you very much for helping me tonight, Joey V, with reviews and for Primate. 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you're interested in Primate, you can go check out that. And then we'll be seeing Bone Temple tomorrow, 28 years later, at the Alamo Drafthouse. Thank you to Bugs Comics and Games, our official comic book sponsor. Thank you to the City of St. Charles, Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau, Discover St. Charles. Thank you to all of you who joined us in the chats tonight. Thank you for listening, and until next week, my friends.
It's not in the way you love Scotty Young art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Hollywood. Good night.